Recording in progress.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Good morning, sir. Yes, you can hear you.
Right, thank you. I'm Dushan. For those of you who are new to my voice, I think I met you only once. That was also online. I took the lesson on consumer behavior some time ago, and today I'm here again to discuss some more topics. And even the next session, I will be taking to discuss two other topics. Is my voice loud enough and clear enough?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you. So that's the plan, but I might like not start something completely new from what you have been discussing so far. It's just a continuation. Only the difference is that the voice is different. The person is different. Here is my picture if you have not seen me before. So the discussion you have had so far may have given you an idea as to what marketing is in an organization, how their marketing efforts are managed through what we call market analysis and developing strategies. Initial part of our discussions in this subject have mainly focused on, I'm just trying to get at what we are going to be talking about today by establishing a link between what we are going to do today and what you have discussed so far. So in our initial parts of the subject, I'm sure the other two lecturers have discussed what is marketing, the role of marketing in organizations, little bit of evolution, and then we paid our attention on a specific area of analyzing and understanding the market in order to understand opportunities available in the market and to predict the threats created within the marketing environment, how to analyze the marketing environment, how to analyze the consumer behavior, how to manage the information we find from within the organization and also outside the organization. Having done that analysis part, you may have then discussed how to identify a profitable group of customers to continue our business or to target our marketing strategies properly. We should be able to identify a group of customers or maybe few groups of customers, which is what we call target market or target markets. Once you identify your target market, you would then develop your positioning strategy, which is crucial. Positioning strategy. Positioning basically talks about how you occupy your brand, your product, your organization in the minds of target consumers in a unique way, in a differentiated manner, in a unique manner, in a better way than your competitors. That is what positioning means. So once you develop your positioning strategy, you're done with the promise, because positioning strategy in a way tells you about the promise you have made to your customers, not any customer, not any average customer, your target customers, your target market. Positioning strategy, I'm repeating myself here. Your positioning strategy shows you what you promise to your target customers, target market. Then the other marketing strategies, which is what we call tactical marketing strategies, would come into the scene and tell you how to deliver what you have promised. Right? Tell me if you're not clear about this. I'm repeating again. Once you identify your target market, you would then develop your positioning strategy. Once you develop your positioning strategy, you then have to find ways to deliver what you have promised. In delivering that, you develop set of other marketing strategies. They are called 4Ps or 7Ps or tactical marketing strategies. Now, under tactical marketing strategies, you may have first covered how to develop an appropriate product strategy. Now, what is a product, different levels of product, and then, under that you may have discussed new product development and PLC also a little bit. But broadly, you conceptually understand what a product strategy means, how to develop a product strategy. If you're going to focus more on the product strategy with the target market, what elements of or what aspects of a product strategy can be manipulated or can be changed. So likewise, you may have discussed up to the development of product strategy. Am I correct? Right, okay. Someone is asking me to explain what is positioning. Okay, I'm happy to do that. Thank you. Please do let me know if you are not clear about the concepts or if you are not clear about the link between the concepts you have studied so far, because this is the crucial point where you need to understand the concepts clearly and also the link between the concepts. More than the concepts, I think the link between these different steps or the concepts of marketing management process is what you need to understand. Otherwise, the content you have covered here and there won't serve any purpose. If you need to see the bigger picture, you need to be able to establish the connection between these steps. Can you see the whiteboard now?
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you. Please bear with my drawings. I'm very good at it. Now here is the organization, right? Here is the organization where you have your marketing department and marketers make decisions or strategies. Now here is the bigger market. Now what you do by analyzing the macro environment and all that, what you do is you identify sort of segments within the market. Maybe based on age or maybe based on their lifestyle or personal characteristic, or likewise you identify market segments. Segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, segment 4, and segment 5. Likewise, you divide the market. This is what we call market segmentation. Once you segment the market, you then have to pick 1 or 2 market segments for your product. Now, here you have the offer, right? For this one, you have the idea, you have to develop, you have to identify your target market. Let's assume that you choose this market. This is called your target market, right? As organization expands, as organization can invest more, they can choose more than one segment. If you take companies like Unilever, they have thousands of products, and for each one they have with minor changes, they have different target segments also. That's fine. I mean, just for you to get your head around this basic idea, I'm just taking this hypothetical scenario. Then we can take any example. In some cases you may have heard niche market. Niche market is a market segment, again a target market which is relatively small in size but large in profit potential. Because of some reason, the number of customers in the market is relatively small, but the need is so powerful Therefore, you can make profits, and it can be a target market. Generally, you find larger market segments as target markets, but in some cases, you find small segments also. Smallest segment is the one that is what you call one-to-one marketing or tailor-made marketing. The smallest level of a target market is one. That is one-to-one marketing. If you get your products tailor-made, that is a segment of one. But in general, what we see is like for FMCG products and things like that, larger market segments. That's because these products are made for people like me, people like us. Okay, Me Too products කියලා ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහලා තියෙනවා. Me Too products කියලා කියන්නේ මට වගේම මම වගේ අනිත් අයට. ඒකට තමයි අපි මේ එක සමාන ලක්ෂණ තියෙන එක මාකට් එකකට දාන්නේ. So that's I'm sure you have covered that part. So once you develop your target market, this strategy called your STP strategy: segmenting, targeting, and positioning. Right? Now, once you develop your target market, you would then come to your positioning part. Positioning means, I'm repeating myself, positioning means occupying your brand in the minds of target consumers in a unique way than your competitors. How do you uniquely occupy your brand or product in the minds of target market or target consumers? What do we mean by unique way? Now, let's say, for example, අපි කියන සැරටොෆියා. සැරටොෆියා කිව්වම මොකද මතක් වෙන්නේ? What does it remind you of? If you say Saratofia? Generally, toffees are perceived to be understood as something sweet. But even within that category, if you put your product as a sweet, a toffee, but with a different taste, that will go to the target customer's mind uniquely than the other products. When Anchor first came into the market, how was it positioned, if someone can remember? Anchor comes from where?
New Zealand.
New Zealand. අර මතකද ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ඉස්සර ඇඩ්වර්ටයිස්මන්ට් ගන්නේ මේ මොනවාද නවසීලන්තය ඇංකලන්තය ලස්සන තන බිම් හිම ඔය ඔක්කොම in a beautiful scene, some of you might remember, and then they have closely associated this product with the love, care, and affection of mothers. That is because they wanted this to be a replacement for, mothers, not the breastfeeding, but that is the whole concept they promoted, with the love, care, and affection. Some of you might remember their theme song long time ago. Amma pe hari hondai apita adare honda naraka kiya demin apa rekagani paneke apa tamai blah blah blah. It goes. Now, a product like sunlight, it's just the soap, but they position it as what? A combination of sunlight, the brightness, the beauty, cleanliness, and they keep on adding things like lemonish flavor or the fragrance, the aroma. They make it unique so that consumers in the target market would see your product different. It is very, very important that you create this position before you do anything else. Once you identified, I'm emphasizing this, please do ask me even 100 times if you are not clear this, right? Because this is the core of marketing. We call STP the strategic marketing decisions. The 4 Ps, we call them tactical marketing decisions. We cannot talk about tactical marketing strategies or marketing mix without having a proper positioning strategy, because it is our positioning strategy that leads our marketing mix strategies. In other words, we develop our 4 Ps or 7 Ps or tactical marketing strategies, we call them. We develop these strategies in light of our positioning strategy. In the simplest way, if you put it, what it means is your positioning strategy is your promise. Other marketing strategies such as price, promotion, distribution, placement, and all that are the ways of delivering what you have promised. ඔකොන්දටම තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් මෙහෙම. දැන් පොඩි බඩගින්නට සොලියුෂන් එකක් විසඳුමක් කිව්වම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට මතක් වෙන්නේ මොකක්ද?
Super cream cake.
සුපර් ක්‍රීම් පැක්. අන්න බලන්න දැන් ඒකල මතක් ඒක අපේ ඔළුවට දීලා තියෙනවා පොඩි බඩගින්නට විසඳුමක්. ඒත් මේක පොඩි බඩගින්නට විසඳුමක් නම් it has to be something like a snack. It has to be convenient to eat. It should be small in size. It should be able to be carried. It should be maybe small in packs, small in size the product. අර බලන්න දැන් ඒගොල්ලෝ ප්‍රොමිස් වෙච්ච එක පොඩි බඩගින්නට විසඳුමක් කියන එක ඒගොල්ලෝ හැම පැත්තෙම ඩෙලිවර් කරනවා. දැන් ඕක ලොකු කිලෝ එකේ පෙට්ටියක් ඇවිල්ලා එහෙම එන්නේ නැහැ නේද? ඒගොල්ලෝ පොඩි පැක්ස් තියෙනවා, පොඩි බිස්කට්ස් තියෙනවා, ගෙනියන්න පුළුවන්. අර ඒ ඔක්කොම ක්වොලිටිස් ටික හදන්නේ අර පොසිෂනින් එකට ගැලපෙන්න. To deliver what you have promised. If you do not deliver what you have promised, people would misunderstand. People would feel that they have been cheated or they have been not provided with what was promised. So positioning is not just a slogan that attracts people. Positioning is promise we have made, therefore it has to be delivered. How do we deliver it? Through other strategies. Now, to deliver this positioning, whatever positioning we have developed, to deliver this, we develop marketing strategies. As you know, we first deliver our promise through our product. Right? That is what you call your product strategy. Product. Then you develop your pricing strategy, which comes the other way around. You develop the price, people pay and buy, that is your price. Then you develop your distribution or placement strategy. And then you have your communication strategy. Communication strategy. So product basically delivers the promise in the form of the product or service. And how much you charge for what you provide is our pricing strategy. And how you make the product available to the consumer is the placement strategy. And communicating about your product strategy is what we call promotional communication strategy. Now, what seemed to be really happening in the market today and even in the past, giving too much attention on this communication. We start everything with if it's this, do a lot of social marketing. And maybe back in 1960s, 70s, do advertising, put advertisements in newspapers and radio and television, and then the product will get sold. No, that is fundamentally wrong. That is the selling philosophy. ඔතන තමයි ඔන්න වරදින තැන. ගොඩක් අය හිතාගෙන ඉන්නේ මේ කෑල්ල තමයි ලොකු කියලා. ඒක ලොකු නෙමෙයි. That is the visible part of marketing. If you remember the iceberg theory of marketing, there is this huge iceberg, and this is the real marketing part. But what we see as marketing is this visible. That is just the tip of the iceberg. We don't get to see this part. Now, what we are talking about here in this part is STP strategy and developing other marketing strategies. මෙතන තමයි 90ක් marketing කියන්නේ. නමුත් අපි marketing කියලා අල්ලන්නේ වල්ගේ. ඔන්න මේ part එක තමයි අල්ලන්නේ. So therefore, it's not the promotion that defines marketing. It is the other marketing strategies or other elements of the marketing process that define what really marketing is. I'm just trying to bring it all together so that you can understand where we are and what we need to go ahead with. Is this clear? Any questions? Any examples? Any doubts you have? You can ask questions, or you can maybe.
So thank you so much for this explanation. So can you say how the branding links to this total picture?
Yeah. May I know your good name, please?
I'm Ari Ratna.
Ari Ratna. Now, it's a very good question, Ari Ratna, because branding, theoretically speaking, comes under the product strategy, because brand of a product is developed as a part of the product strategy. That is what it used to be. But today, this entire 4Ps management has come under the broad umbrella called brand management. Because when you look at this entire marketing process, it has now become managing brands in the market. When you are to manage the brand, you have to have now the product strategy has come secondary. But originally, product strategy is the broader one, branding comes within. But today, even theoretically, we slightly differentiate this. Brand is considered to be the umbrella of marketing. But again, in brand management, what to do is you have to have the brand which directly links to the positioning strategy, because it is our brand that is positioned. And to deliver the brand promise again, you have to have the right product, you have to have the price, distribution, because they are all again part of brand management. Because today the it is considered to be, marketing is considered to be all about managing the brand. It's the way you look at it. If you look at it from brand management perspective, we think that everything comes under branding. But even in branding, you have to have your right positioning and other marketing strategies. If you look at it from conventional Kotler's marketing approach, we talk about marketing mix strategies, and we talk about branding as one element. But given the importance of branding in the practical world today, we tend to look at the entire process from branding perspective, because even like communication, social media marketing, we directly relate to brand management. Is that clear? It's just the way we look at it.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. So accordingly, can you define this whole process as branding? Because in order to develop a good brand, what we have to do is we have to develop what we have promised. Otherwise, we can't create a good brand. Therefore, this holistic picture.
You can say that. You can call this, from a conventional original theoretical perspective. This is what we call marketing management process. Marketing management process again ends up with brand management process. They are like parallel concepts. So even if you want to look at it from brand management perspective, that's fine. You can say in order to develop a proper brand, you need to do all this. That's fine.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? Someone has put a question in the chat box. Let me have a look at it. මේ bigger picture එක තේරුම් ගන්න නැතුව marketing කරලා වැඩක් නැහැ. මේක තමයි එන්න ඕන. So branding is a strategic decision. Yes, branding can be considered a strategic decision when you look at the whole process from branding perspective. Because when a particular discipline evolves, certain things keep changing. Now, because of the development of branding from practical point of view, everything comes and everything seems to be coming under the branding process. That is fine, because the perspective you take leads you in the process. So if you're looking at it from the branding perspective, yes. But again, as Arya asked, branding, we make the promise. We still call it the positioning strategy. But in the real brand management process, you have to have these marketing mix elements, these ones, or maybe 7 Ps, in order to deliver what was promised. අපි ඉස්සර product management යටතේ brand management කතා කරනකොට සමහර curriculum වල product and brand management කියලා එකට යනවා. සමහර curriculum වල brand management කියලා යනවා. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. What needs to really happen is that the organization can't do this on their own. They can't have one-sided view. They have to do everything in connection to the market. Yes, Rumesh, your point is very correct. As I understand, STP has to do before rising 4 Ps. Very good. That's the exact point I was trying to emphasize. You can't do these ones, your 4 Ps, without having a target market and a positioning strategy. You need to have a proper target market identified and then positioning strategy developed so that you can develop your positioning strategy. Then ඕක හරියට අර මේ මිනිස්සු මාකටිං දැනගෙන නොකරට අපි ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එක දිහා බලලා තියරි එක හදනවානේ. දැන් ඔය මම අහලා තියෙන කතන්දරයක් මේක DSI. Some of you might have heard this before. This may not be true, but that doesn't matter. As long as it helps us understand the theory, that's fine. Now, Bata company was leading the market, but they were kind of developing common sizes to the market. And this has happened long time ago, maybe 100 years ago, when the original, whoever the founder of DSI shoes, when he was running a small shoe making shop in Peta market, he has identified an unmet need of the consumers. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් එයා කරේ ඔයගලන්ටත් මතක ඇති ඔයගලගේ සමහර ලාවට මේ ඔය වයසක සීයලා ආච්චිලාගේ කකුල් දිහා බැලුවාම ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැකලා ඇති ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ කකුල් ඇදයි. මෙහෙම සෙරප්පුවෙන් එළියට පනිනවා. ඒතරේ සෙරප්පුවෙන් එළියට පනින මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ පොඩි කාලේ ඉඳන් සපත්තු දාලා නැහැ කකුල් පිළිවෙලට හැදිලා නැහැ. එහෙනම් දැන් අපේ වගේ එහෙම පේන්නේ නැහැ. නමුත් ඒ කාලේ අයගේ එහෙම තියෙනවා. ඒතරේ ඒ කාලේ එහෙම ඒ වගේ අය කොළඹට ආපුවාම ඒගොල්ලන්ට කකුල හැඩයට සපත්තුවක් මහලා ගන්න පුළුවන් වුණා. බාටා එකේ DSI එකේ whoever the Rajapaksa who initiated this business, what he did was he made shoes for people who had maybe different shapes of legs, and for individual requirement he made a pair of shoes. එතකොට මිනිස්සු කියන පටන් ගත්තලු අන්න අර පිටකොටුවේ කඩයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කඩේ කකුල හැඩයට සෙරප්පුවක් මහලා දෙනවා. අපි ගිහිල්ලා කඩේ තියෙන සෙරප්පුවක් ගන්නව වෙනුවට කකුල හැඩයට සෙරප්පුවක් මහලා දෙනවා. එතකොට හැමෝම මෙතෙන් යන්න පටන් ගන්නවා. ඔන්න එතන ඔපචුනිටි එකක් හැදෙනවා. එයා ටාගට් මාකට් එක අයිඩෙන්ටිෆයි කරගන්නවා. පොසිෂනින් මෙසේජ් එක තමයි කකුල හැඩයට සෙරප්පුවක් මහලා දෙනවා කියන එක. එතකොට බිස්නස් එක දිගට යනවා. Now in a competitive market, in a very, very competitive market today, where there are a lot of choices available for consumers, this has to be managed so sharply, because everybody is trying to differentiate their product from the others. Everybody is trying to be unique. Everybody's like well aware of the rules of the game. So you have to be very, very smart enough to be in the forefront of the game. When Keels is doing a lot of other strategies, Cargill's, Keels focus on this green aspects, going green and making their processes green and outlet green and more environmental friendly and all sort of things, because they were kind of aligning this greenness, going green, because they knew that there is an opportunity and there is a group of people who are aligning with this type of thinking. So they gradually change. Then ඔයගලන්ට මතක නම් Cargill's ඉස්සෙල්ලාම position කරනකොට Cargill's was upmarket, luxurious type supermarket brand. So they wanted this product to be expanded or extended into sort of a middle average market in Sri Lanka, and they had a huge positioning change. Can somebody remember someone was going to the Cargill's by bicycle? There was an advertisement which was very famous then. කාට හරි මතකද මේ මම කියන ඇඩ් එක?
Yes, sir. Little bit we can remember.
නළුව මතකද ඒකින්ද පු?
Mahendra.
මහේන්ද්‍ර පෙරේරා නේද යා? මහේන්ද්‍ර පෙරේරා නේද අර හොඳ ඇක්ටර් කෙනෙක් ඉන්නේ?
Yes, sir. Anyway, Mahendra is.
Yes, he's Mahendra. He's one Mahendra, and he was riding a foot cycle to a Cargill's outlet, which was very, very new idea, because the people who used to go to supermarkets always drive their vehicle to a supermarket. People who drive even motorbikes or maybe bicycles, they won't go to a supermarket. Is not place for them basically. And that is the mind they have changed. අපි දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ වෙනුනත් available. මෙන්න මේගොල්ලෝ එන්න අපේ ළඟට. ඒක තමයි දුන්න message එක. ගෙදර යන ගම. On your way home ආවෙත් එහෙමයි. On your way home, people like you can come here and buy your stuff you want. That's a complete change. ඉතින් ඒකට හරියන්න කාගිල් ගොඩාක් වෙනස් කරා. දැන් මට මතකයි අපි පොඩි කාලේ එහෙම කාගිල්ස් කියපුවාම if you see an expensive product, people used to say that is Cargill price. But they don't even call Cargill, they call it Cargills. Cargill price තමයි Cargills වල තමයි ඔය තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ Cargills කියන එක position වෙලා තිබ්බේ, perceive වෙලා තිබ්බේ high price, high end, expensive. But they wanted this position to be changed. They said ගෙදර යන ගමන් convenient, less expensive, affordable. That was the line of thinking they promoted, and then they developed other strategies around this concept. So someone has asked, what is then the meaning of branding strategy? When you say branding strategy, it has a broader meaning. Branding is a very different area of subject. Branding හොඳටම ඉගෙන ගන්න නම් කොට්ලෑන්ඩ් කෙලර් වෙනම තියෙනවා, කොට්ලෑන්ඩ් කෙලර් තියෙනවා. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ මාකටිං branding පොත කියවන්න ගොඩක් හොඳයි ඒක. Then branding strategy එකක් කියලා කියවම මේ ටික ඔක්කොගෙම එකතුවක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Branding strategy, in the branding strategy we talk about positioning, again we talk about price, we talk about promotion and other strategies within the branding strategy. As I said, whether you take it from brand management perspective or marketing management perspective, you see this difference. The branding කියන එකෙන් ගන්න කට්ටිය මේ ඔක්කොම branding වලට දාලා කතා කරනවා. That is the difference. At least that's how I understand it.
Sir, another one question. Before this whole picture comes to the state, so we have to come up with a good product idea and we have to develop it. Am I correct?
Very, very good. Yes, you have to have a very good product idea. What that means is මම නම් තේරුම් ගන්න මෙන්න මෙහෙමයි. දැන් ඔය මේ කොරියාවේ ගිහිල්ලා එහෙම නැත්නම් ජපානයේ ගිහිල්ලා එහෙම නැත්නම් ඉතාලියේ ගිහිල්ලා අපේ සමහර ලංකාවේ less skilled මේ අය ගිහිල්ලා මේ වැඩ කරලා සල්ලි ටිකක් කරගෙන ලංකාවට එනවානේ. ඇවිල්ලා ඒගොල්ලෝ එක්ක 3 wheel එකක් ගන්නවා. එක්ක රෙස්ටෝරන්ට් එකක් දාගන්නවා. එක්ක මේ මඩුපුටු වගේ දේවල් rent out කරන business එකක් දාගන්නවා. ටික දවසක් යනකොට business එකක් නෑ හම්බ කරන් ආපු සල්ලි. ඔන්න ඔතන තමයි එන්නේ ගැටලුව. It's not just following another business. You need to have some sense of market and be able to identify gaps in the market. Those gaps, unfulfilled or partially met gaps, can then be converted into a product. Broader category would be fine, even if it's a restaurant, that's fine. But what sort of restaurant is in demand? What type of people would come to this place? Who are these people? What is their buying patterns? These are the initial things you need to do, which is what we call analysis part. That analysis will tell you how, what kind, whether this idea can be brought forward. And if you are to bring this forward, who would be the real buyer? That is our target market. අර මේ මිනිස්සු ටිකක් බිස්නස් පටන් ගන්න නෑනේ. එහෙම නැත්නම් අර අපි කියන්නේ නේද? කාත් කවුරුත් නැති පළාතකට ගිහිල්ලා අපි දෙන්න කඩයක් දාගෙන ඉඳමු කියලා ඒව ආදරයට කිව්වට මේ මාකටිං වල හරියන්නේ නෑනේ. කාත් කවුරුත් නැති පළාතකට ගිහිල්ලා කඩයක් දාගෙන අපි දෙන්න ඉඳමු සතුටෙන් සමාදානෙන් කිව්වහම target market is missing. පොසිෂන් කරන්න දෙයක් නෑ. Right. Any other questions? Right. Now that we know the bigger picture, let's get to the discussion of individual strategies. I'm sure the product has already been covered. Let's now have a look at the pricing strategy. Not setting just the price, right? Here we are talking about price as a strategy, pricing as a strategy, because price tells a lot about what we do, what we promise. Here is one simple definition: amount of money charged for a product, or some of the values consumers exchange for the benefit of having or using a product. It's like, medium of exchange. For the benefit we get, we give a sum, which is what we call one. Now, most important part of this discussion is this, at least to me. This is the only element that produces revenue to the organization. If you take product, it's a cost. If you take distribution, the placement strategy, it's a cost. If you take promotion or the communication, it's a cost. People strategy is a cost. Process is a cost. They are all cost. STP, that is again a cost. So to cover the cost of all these marketing strategies, you have only your pricing strategy that brings revenue to the organization. So therefore, this has to be managed very, very carefully. This has to be managed very carefully. Now, that's the basic idea about pricing. And then, in different contexts, we have different prices. In different contexts, we have different prices. Some would call it rent, salary, fee, tariff rate, toll, interest, dues, retainer, commission, fare. These are all, different terms we used. The MBA එක අපි ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කියන්නේ නෑ උගුරන්ගේ මිල ලක්ෂ 5යි කියලා කියන්නේ. We say course fee because that's more professional, that's more aligning with the academic world, universities. We call it course fee. Or some in the world of renting, we call it rent. We don't call it the price of the house. They're all prices. In a bank, it's the interest. Now, these are all monetary elements. There are non-monetary element of pricing as well. Time, opportunity, emotional energy, and physical cost. They are also part of the cost. Interesting pricing strategies. Interesting pricing. දැන් අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හැමතිස්සෙම price එක label කරලා තියෙනවා, දකිනවා. ඔය මේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ දැක්කද දන්නේ අර වීඩියෝ එකක් මම දැක්කා මේ ඒක කියනවා මේ ෂර්ට් එකක් ගන්න ගියපුවාම 890 990. When you give 1,000 rupee note, you don't get even the 10 rupees back, the balance. Instead of 10, you get one matchbox or something. ගිනි පෙට්ටිය දැන් හම්බෙන්නේ දැන් රුපියල් 40ක් නේ. රුපියල් 10ට පහට තියෙනකොට රුපියල් 10 වෙනකොට ගිනි පෙට්ටියක් හම්බ වෙනවා. එහෙම නැත්නම් රුපියල් 5 නම් ට්‍රොෆි දෙකක් හම්බ වෙනවා. One of my friends, who is a lawyer by profession, has gone to a shop one day and same thing has happened to him. And he said they have given them 2 toffees for balance. And then he has come out and gone to the other side of the same shop to buy something else. And then they wanted 5 rupees from him. He has given these 2 toffees. This has happened a couple of years ago. They have refused to take the 2 toffees. He said, this is what I got from your other side of the shop, the other cashier. If they can give, why can't you accept this? Then they were still refusing. He has then had to say that, I'm a lawyer and try not to cheat people like this. Then they have accepted it. නමුත් එතන මම කියන කතන්දරයක නෙමෙයි අපි ප්‍රයිස් එක ට්‍රාන්ස්ලේට් කරන එක modes තියෙනවා. In the original form there was no involvement of money at all. It was all barter system. Goods to goods exchange. You exchange a good and gain a good in return. But because of the difficulties or challenges of coming into an agreement with how much is money worth and converting certain goods into a value were quite difficult. So therefore, the money came into the play. Now we express the value of things in monetary terms. That's the point I wanted to arrive at. Everything has a price. Now, this pricing strategy, coming back to our original argument, idea, has to be determined in relation to the target market. Price of a product has to be determined in relation to the target market, and it has to be very well aligned with the position you have made, the promise you have made. Positioning strategy can come price lead, not the other way around. Right? With this broad idea in mind, can you now read the case study which I have uploaded? The name of the case study is Blinch H2O. There's a case study called Blinch H2O. I'll share it here. Read the case study. This will take about maybe 20 minutes. And you can sort of discuss the questions also at the end. I mean, there are no questions given here. That's okay. But go through this case study and have a discussion and share your thoughts how you identify the target market and develop a positioning strategy, and then how your positioning strategy leads to pricing and product and other strategies. I'm going to put you into groups. You can discuss in your groups and come back. I will also join groups time to time. I'll make about 8 breakout rooms. Right. Okay. Would you like to share what you have observed or any points you noticed starting from group 1 or group 8? Anyone from group 1? Anyone from group 8? Group 2? Group 6? Group 3? Group 5? Group 4?
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're group 5?
No, 4.
Okay, go ahead.
So what we understood when we discussed what is given in the article, what we understood was that people like being stand out from the crowd. So they try to showcase themselves as unique. So instead of like consuming water, they just want to use this product to stand out from the crowd, as maybe by using as a luxurious item, sorry, luxurious accessory or something like that. So because of that, they are willing to pay a premium, not just for the core product, which is water. So also they try to showcase what their opinions or thinking is. For example, let's say it says there are 35 varieties of water bottles for some different water bottles for different purposes. Let's say it's cancer awareness. So through that, they try to like showcase, okay, I'm this kind of a person. So because of that, they are willing to pay a premium, not just the cost. So that is how their mind works. So we need to consider all these when we are doing the pricing and all these when we craft these strategies.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Right. Group number 8, would you like to share something?
So yes, in this article, so we believe like their position is a pop-up culture in a bottle or a liquid luxury. In delivering that promise, they have used the premium price as a one element of 4 Ps, as well as in addition to that, the product. When it comes to the product is made of English mountain spring in the Danbridge place, and the company is using a 9-step purification process. So that is a high-end production process, as well as the bottle is come up with a cork sealed glass bottle and handicrafted and adorned with soft stick crystals. And so the product outer package is very prestigious and it is very costly. And when it comes to the placing strategy, they are they are selling their products in areas where the celebrities are behaving, like clubs and some events. So where the celebrities are coming and participating in those events. As well as when it comes to the promotion, they are using some premium promotion activities like MTV Musics and Awards, Emmys. So in such events, they are promoting their product, as well as in addition to the niche market of these celebrities. Now they are spreading their business to some low-end customers. Therefore, they have priced their products from $20 to a high price. So that's how they are delivering their promise.
Very good. Yes. Anyone else? Anyone else? Has anyone else got any questions or any doubts or anything to contribute from their experience? Any local examples similar to this? Right. So thank you, Kavinda, and who was it who represented group number 4? What was
I'm
it?
Aruni. I'm Aruni.
Right, Aruni and Kavinda. Kavinda ne dani kata kare.
Yes, sir.
Right, thank you, Kavinda and Aruni, for sharing your thoughts you have discussed within your group. I don't know why others were reluctant. Maybe they didn't understand anything I said, other than the ones who spoke in the morning, before this. Apart from few of you, others may have some other important or maybe useful engagements. So that's beyond my control. I'm not really worried about that. Right. Learning කියන එක හැමෝගෙම responsibility එකක් ඉන්න මම ඔකට කේන්ති ගත්තොත් එහෙම අනේ ඔය වැඩ කරන දෙතුන් දෙනාට අවුලක්. ඒ නිසා මම ඒක කේන්ති ගන්න ඉස්සර නම් මම ඉස්සර නෙමෙයි ළඟදී කොහොම ලෙක්චර් එකක් අතර මම නතර කරලා ගියා. පස්සේ මට හිතුණා මේ එන්ගේජ් වෙන දෙතුන් දෙනා වෙනුවෙන් කරනවා අනිත් අය වෙනුවෙන් ඕන නැති අය වෙනුවෙන් මම කේන්ති ගන්න එක ඕන අයට කරන අසාධාරණයි. So the ones who are really engaged in the process, interactive, should be respected for their willingness, and I'm here for them, not for the ones who are not interested in learning, but for the qualification. They are as selfish as the politicians we have in Sri Lanka, as selfish as some of the people in Sri Lanka. They are also after qualifications and their own personal benefits, not for the benefit of others. Postgraduate sessions, we don't expect this level of poor interaction, but for some reason it happens. Let's go ahead. Kavinda and Arudi, thank you. I think you both nailed it very nicely. What I was trying to explain at the beginning in terms of theoretical perspective, you now see in a practical, successful example. This is a success story. In this success story, you can see a clear alignment between STP strategies and other marketing strategies. That's the, theoretically, if I am to summarize what you see in this case, it's just water. Somebody asked this question actually before. But it's just water. How can water be sort of put into a bottle and make it a fashion accessory for luxury consumers? This is a fantastic example of marketing, how much work they have done. As Kavinda nicely explained, the product strategy, outer appearance, the purification process. Then Kavinda තේරෙනවද මේ bad example එකක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම මේ ඒකේ කොතනද වැරදුනේ කියලා හිතාගන්න අපිට පුළුවන් නේද මේ විදිහට? Kavinda?
Exactly, sir. Yes.
ඒතර අන්න එතන තමයි real learning තියෙන්නේ. දැන් ගන්නකො ලංකාවේ කිතුල් හකුරු පොත්මලේ කිතුල් හකුරු whatever you call it, ඇයි මේකල fail වෙන්නේ? එක target market එක හරියට අඳුරගෙන. තාම conventionally අර පොල් කට්ටෙන් ගහන එකයි ප්ලාස්ටික් කෝපෙට දාන එකයි විතරයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මිනිස්සුන්ට product එක on form එක මොකද්ද මේ මිනිස්සුන් convenience එකද හොයන්නේ මේ ඊට පස්සේ product එකේ quality එක when you if you want kitul hakuru, we think it's original product, but what you are going to buy in the market is not a sugar, not the real product. So the product strategy has failed. Distribution of the product size, package, labeling, the product itself, the features, the content, ingredients, everything has failed. So how can we develop a product like this? Cinnamon, if you take for example, value additions තමයි මිනිස්සු බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. නමුත් අපේ නැත්තේම value additions. ඉතින් product එකම fail ගොඩක් තැන්වලදී අපි highlight කරන්නේ මොකද්ද? Why don't you go on social media, post something on Facebook and Twitter and post එකක් දාලා බඩු විකුණන්න තමයි පුරුදු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. Post has to come, online marketing, online promotions, digital strategy has to come in connection with other strategies. But what is missing is these other strategies. So we looked at the theory, we looked at the practical real world example, which is a success story. through this theoretical lens and the practical exposure, you can now analyze any practical situation, any practical scenario, and see what has gone right and what has gone wrong. How can they be successful? What they need to change? What can be shifted? ඔන්න ඕක තමයි තේරුම් ගන්න. දැන් මේක තේරුම් ගත්තාම මුළු lessons හතරම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට ලේසි. Whether it's price or promotion or distribution or any other marketing strategy, you can easily understand where this has gone wrong. Then branding කියන එක ගත්තාම branding කියන එක නමක් නෙවෙයි. Branding, as someone asked, it's a belief. It's a whole concept. It's not the brand itself, the name, but the meaning around it. අන්නේ meaning එක තමයි තව පැත්තකින් positioning කියලා කියන්නේ. දැන් හිතන්නකෝ අපිට 9 hearts කියන brand එක ගත්තාම originally it was nothing basically. 9 hearts. 9 hearts කියන නම අපිට දන්නවද ඔයගොල්ලෝ? Anyone?
No,
9 hearts මම දන්නේ මේක හරිද කියලා මම ආපු එක. 9 hearts, being Sri Lankans, typical Sri Lankans, they had gone to one of these astrologers, a Buddhist monk, and wanted a name for their new business. Then this reverend has asked them how many members. They said, it's a family members. We are going to start this family business. We want a good name for this business based on our whatever horoscope or birth time. We want a proper name. And then he has asked, how many family members are involved in this business? They said, we have 9 members. So it's, purely 9 hearts are coming together, putting their efforts into the business. Why don't we call it 9 hearts? There are 9 hearts. The 9 hearts, it's just 9 hearts. It's just a term. But there's a meaning developed over the time for this particular brand. Blinch H2O kineka Blinch, I don't know how Blinch came, but H2O is water. It's just water. Blinch H2O is water. But that brand, that name has a big meaning. It represents a luxurious, as you said, a fashion accessory which comes in the form of water and bottled water. Interesting meaning is created over the time by developing the right, product strategy, distribution strategy, promotion strategy. Like Dilma. Dilma name. Do you know how Dilma name came?
Son's name, Dilshan.
Yes, Dilshan and Malik.
Dilhan and Malik.
Oh, Dilhan and Malik. DILMA, to make it easy to pronounce. I think H was added at the end. And බලන්න දැන් Dilma කියන එක ගත්තම ඒගොල්ලෝ යන්නේ pure
Strong green Ceylon tea.
Pure Ceylon tea. The pure Ceylon tea කියන එක ඇතුළට ගේන එකල කොච්චර මහන්සි වෙනවද? ඒකට Mr. Merrill J. Fernando, who was a tea taster by profession, he appears on advertisement. He tastes the tea and he talks about the product. He appears on commercials. They don't hire world famous celebrities, but from the inception, it's a very different approach. But that meaning has been now embedded into brand through product price promotion and all these other strategies. Chamindu has shared another example. He says ICT, coffee, sell which value additions targeting different markets. Yes, now if you take Starbucks, barista coffee, it's just coffee. But the offer, if you take, is different. Now, say something like one other name. crab කඩේ මොකද්ද ලංකාවේ තියෙන්නේ? Crabs.
Ministry of Crabs.
Ministry of Crabs. Thank you. Ministry of Crabs. දැන් බලන්න මට ඒක මතකයිනේ. I have never been there, but I can still remember. Ministry of Crabs, because I'm not in the target market. Ministry of, it's very expensive. Just to eat a dish of crab, do you think you need to go there? No. That offer is unique. They have embedded cricket, Sri Lankan crab, Sri Lankan cricket, the experience, fun, that unique experience which no one else can offer. For that, they can charge a high price. And what if this product was there, a dish of maybe different crabs, at a very lower price? You still get, fantastic service and all that. Sri Lankan people won't believe it. Price, in a way, has to be symbolically representing what consumers have in their money. How media does it? Hemantha Textile Maharagama does it. Odell does it. House of Fashion. The House of Fashion, for different levels. House of Fashion, they have 3 different, I think, pallu or something for sari, something, some other category of shops for some other higher brands, and then the average shops for some other options. They are different. And one organization, as they expand, offer different products at different price ranges for different segments. Have this overall idea in mind. When you study about price, yes, fine, you go into the detail of the pricing strategy, but keep that bigger picture in mind. How this connects to the promotion strategy? How is this communicated through the distribution? How the price can be symbolically represented in the product strategy? Now, if you take Bench H2O, as you two very nicely elaborated, price is embedded through the product to the target customers they deliver. Right. Anything you want to share?
So, excuse me.
Yeah.
One small clarification.
Yeah.
So once we identify the segment, then only we target it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
If there's a more segments, out of that we select one target market. Is it? Can be.
No, it's. I think if I get your question correctly, let's say that you have identified 2 segments. Oh, sorry. What you first do is we divide the market into groups, right?
Okay.
We divide the market into groups. Then one example එකක් ගත්තොත් එහෙම මෙහෙම හිතන්නකෝ. දැන් ඔන්න මට මෙතන තියෙනවා beauty care product. This is my beauty care product, something like let's say lipstick or something. Then මේකට මම market එක බෙදනවා. එතකොට මම සිම්පල් විදිහට නිකන් අපි බෙදුවත් එහෙම සරලම බෙදීමක් අපිට මාකට් එක බෙදන්න පුළුවන්. Female beauty care product එකක් කියනකොට we divide the market, female beauty care consumers total market. We divide them into age groups. Let's say from 0 to 12, one segment, and then let's say 13 to 20, something like that, and then 20 to 35 and 35 and above. These are segments. Now we analyze each segment. We analyze each segment and identify what they really need. Now, if you take a product like lipsticks, these ones maybe where their mother's lipsticks or their elder sisters or some, whoever they get it from, they use this product just for fun. What they are looking for is fun. For this category, this is the age where they are expecting more interaction and attention of opposite sex. They are a bit fragile. So therefore, they want to express themselves more firmly. Age group teenagers done the pretty fragile ගතියක් තියෙනවා. නිකන් මාව මං රියා කවුරු බරයිද මාව attract වෙයිද ඒ නිසා මේගොල්ලෝ ෆන් එක එක්ස්පෙක්ට් කරනකොට මේගොල්ලෝ තමන් එක්ස්ප්‍රෙස් කරන්න බලන්න. එතන මේගොල්ලෝ ගත්තාම they are more work oriented, beauty oriented, so therefore they want to express their beauty. මම නිකන් හිතන්නකෝ අපි රිසර්ච් කළා මේ හොයා ගන්නවා මම මේ නිකන් එක්සැම්පල් එකක් ගන්න. And if you take 35 and above, why do they need? They have the real problem to use beauty care products because their skins are having wrinkles and maybe colors change and you don't look young anymore. So therefore you have issues here, and therefore they want to have express themselves, or maybe අපි නිකන් සරලව කියන්නේ නිකන් tinkering වගේ වැඩක් නේද කරන්නේ. You want to protect yourself, you want to I can't think of the right word here, but they want their beauty to be like some kind of not rejuvenation. මට හරි වචනයක් එන්නේ කරලා උදව් කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් අර මට කියන්න ඕන මේගොල්ලන්ට ඕන මේ ඇත්තටම beauty care product එකක් වුණා මොකද ඒගොල්ලන් beauty එක ටික ටික අඩු වෙන යනවා. Like repairing. So what we then do is, now here we have the organization. We look at the organizational resources, competition available in the market. We think of many factors. We find a segment which we can easily satisfy the needs of. Let's say, for example, this category may be less attractive, less competitive. Then we select this as the target market. And ඊට පස්සේ ටිකක් යනකොට තේරෙනවා දැන් මේක අපි හොඳට එස්ටැබ්ලිෂ් වෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි එනවා alright දැන් අපිට පුළුවන් මෙන්න මේගොල්ලන්ටත් එකක් ඔෆර් කරන්න. This might be a different brand, this might be a same brand with different maybe color combination. You can't offer the same marketing mix to every segment, then there's no purpose of segmenting. So once you identify segments, you can target one market, one segment and offer the product, or you can identify you can select to serve 2 or 3 or more entire market, but with different products. Now, if you take giants like Coca-Cola, what they do is they have classic Coke, they have cans, they have different products for different segments. They're large, therefore they can afford to offer many products to different segments. If it's a small company, best thing is to start with 1 or maybe 2. Not more than that. Mass marketing is not එක ගලෙන් කුරුල්ල 1000ක් මරා ගන්න approach එක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. අපි identify කරගන්න group එක. Local bakery එකක් වුණත් එහෙමයි. ගමේ ඉන්න ඔක්කොම මගේ target customers නෙමෙයි. මේ ගමේ ඉන්න මෙන්න මේ වගේ අයට තමයි මම offer කරන්නේ. Even for local marketing they have to have that target marketing sense. Is that clear now? Chandra is asking question, can we have shaved hair in salon like a fashion at high price? You're referring to haircut, I think. Salon like a fashion at high price. You can't just charge a high price just because you run a salon. You have to be able to identify a group of people whose needs can be different. ඒ කියන්නේ නිකම්ම haircut එකක් නෙමෙයි. සමහර මිනිස්සු haircut එකක් අරගෙන ඊට පස්සේ පොඩි hair massage, ඒ කියන්නේ head massage එකකුත් අරගෙන ඊට පස්සේ පොඩි hair treatment එකකුත් කරලා එහෙම එනවා. ඒතර ඒගොල්ලෝ කැමති ඒ වෙලාව බොහොම රිලැක්ස් විදිහට ඉන්න. ඒතකොට අරගොල්ලොන්ට පුළුවන් මේ මියුසික් එකක් ප්ලේ කරන්න ඔක්කොම පේ කරනකොට තමයි අන්න ඒක high price එකට match වෙන්නේ. Whatever the price you charge has to be delivered. Now the problem with Sigiri in Sri Lanka, you charge a foreigner 5,000 rupees, the foreigners get same service as Sri Lankans. එහෙම නෙමෙයි 5000ක් ගන්නකොට අපි 100ක් ගෙවනකොට 5000ක් ගන්න එක්කෙනාගේ expectations වෙනස්. දැන් foreigners ලා කියලා අපි target market එකක් identify කරගත්තට අපි price එක කො charge කරාට අපි value එක හරියට deliver කරන්නේ නැහැ. product strategy එකේ පොඩි අවුලක් තියෙනවා. ඒක නිසා තමයි Sigiriයට ගිහින් එන foreigners ලා කියන්නේ we feel like we are ripped off. Doesn't matter. We pay something more than what locals pay. But the real problem is that we don't get that value. But if you go to Japan, for example, they have a pass, public transport for foreigners. They facilitate transport. අපි ඉන්නවනම් අපිට ඒක ගත්තාම දවස් ගානක් කරනකොට හරි ලාභයි. මොන කාඩ් එකද කියලා කියනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ අර ඒ තැන් වලට ගියපුවම ටූරිසම් වලදී මාර විදිහට ටාගට් මාකටිං වල ප්‍රයිස් එකද ප්‍රොඩක්ට් එකද මට මතකයි ෆුජියාමා මේ මොකද ෆුජියාමා අර ගිනි කන්ද උඩට ගියපුවම එක සැරේටම කන්ද උඩට ගෙනිහින්න අර මොනවද කියන්නේ අර උඩින් යන්නේ කේබල් කාස් මට වචන මතක නෑ කේබල් කාර් එක සැරේටම උඩට they don't say anything හරියටම ගිනි කන්ද උඩට ගෙනිහිල්ලා it's a dead one but still they have some ashes and things coming out but you take the cable car onto the top and then underneath what you see is this place and suddenly they open windows එතකොටම අර නිකන් අර ගිනි කන්දෙන් එන මොනවද ඒ සුවඳ එනවා දැන් අපිට ඔන්න බය දැනෙනවා ඉතර ගිනි කන්දේ රියල් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එක ඊට පස්සේ පල්ලෙහාට ගියපුවාම මේ මට මතක තියෙන එකක් මම මේ කියන්නේ මට දැනෙච්ච real segment product price of it was an expensive thing but still then you take the cable car down and you let people to just go around and just shopping mall there and rest areas in the rest areas they sell eggs which are boiled in the hot water natural hot water මොනවාද ගිනි කන්දේ තියෙන අර ඒ රස්නේ තියෙන තැන් වලට ගෙනිහිල්ලා එනවා. ඒතර ඒකේ තියෙන මොකක් හරි කෙමිකල් නේචර් එකකින්ද එග් එකේ ෂෙල් එක බ්ලැක් වෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ එහි කතාවක් තියෙනවා කල්චරලි මේ එග් එකක් ආපුවාම අවුරුද්දකින්ද 10කින්ද වයස වැඩි වෙනවා කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ එන හැම එක්කෙනෙක්ම සාමාන්‍ය බිත්තරේ තමයි හැබැයි පොත්ත කළුයිනේ. ඒතර අපි මේ බිත්තර දෙක තුනක් කාලා එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් එක ගන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ එතන මේ shopping area එකේ souvenirs තියෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව මේ preserve කරපු eggs තියෙනවා cook කරලා you can take home and even share with others. Then the experience we shared, we tend to buy for our families also. It's another experience. එතකොට ඔන්න බලන්නේ තාම හරි සරල දේවල්. සරල දේවල් හැබැයි product strategy එක pricing strategy එක distribution strategy එක කියන්නේ අපි දැන් ගිනි කන්දට යන්න අපිට හදපු මේ cable ලස්සන train එකකින් ගිහිල්ලා experience එක අරගෙන ඊට පස්සේ train එකෙන් cable car එකට නැගලා cable car එකෙන් ferry එකක් වගේ තියෙනවා ඒකට ගිහිල්ලා ferry එකෙන් ඊට පස්සේ ආයෙ bus වලින් ගිහිල්ලා so entire placement strategy is very nicely organized so therefore you can charge a high price. So even in a salon, you first need to be able to identify if the target consumers want that. When the target consumers do not want it, you don't have to. I know one salon, they started offering soft drink. The moment you go in, it's an average class one. But I have observed that a lot of the people reject. Because they started offering this fresh drink recently. In a COVID-affected environment, do you think people want to have a soft drink from a salon? They're not sure about the safety, the cleanliness there. මම ඊට පස්සේ ඕනගෙන් ඇහුවා අය මෙහෙම එකක් කිව්වේ කියලා. මම personally දන්න මං කවුවා. හොඳයි කරපු වැඩේ අය මෙහෙම එකක් කිව්වේ no sir. They are waiting for a long time here without giving them something. Something hot would have worked. Something hot, something warm, but something cold may not be working right now because of the prevailing health risk. It would have worked in a normal situation, but in a non-normal situation like this, things like this won't work. So simply understanding the target customer, at least they could have asked questions from the customers. Would you like and why don't you? Yes, does the marketing process, Kavind is asking question, start from the marketing research? Yes, Kavind, very correct. Marketing research. research, sometimes organizations and marketers have sense, and then with their common sense they would start, but then they need to have a deep analysis of things. එක formal research වෙන්න පුළුවන්, informal research වෙන්න පුළුවන්, qualitative වෙන්න පුළුවන්, quantitative වෙන්න පුළුවන්, industry experts එක්ක කතා කරන. The research can take various forms, but you have to have some sense of some kind of analysis, which obviously needs to happen through research. But that's where you need to start. Yes, very good. Right. Have a 10 minutes break now. Come back around 20 past 10. Then we will continue. 10 minutes or 15 minutes. But how long do you want the break to be?
Shall we
Sir,
start
can
at
you give?
30?
Huh?
Yes, sir.
30?
Okay. Come back around 10:30 then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Just to go ahead with the concept of pricing a little further, organizations need to have an idea as to how price range can be determined. Now, you have to set your price within this range. You need to have some sense of the range. The lowest level of the range is called price floor. And the highest level you can think about, think of increasing your price up to is called price ceiling. Price ceiling is the, your price, the product price has to come between these two, price floor and price ceiling. Because if you go above price ceiling, this maximum price, what will happen is there is no demand. You can't expect demand if the price goes up above the price ceiling. Price floor is the lowest level you can go down. And if you further bring your price down, what will happen is there is no profit. So without sacrificing the profit or without sacrificing the possible demand, you need to be able to set the price between price ceiling and the price floor. There are many other factors that you need to consider in setting the price, which we will discuss in a while. This is just a simple description, as we said before, the factors affecting the pricing decision. Because you have already covered your macro analysis and analysis part, these factors are easy to be understood. Theoretically speaking, we need to talk about certain factors which are generating within the organization, and there are certain external factors also influencing pricing decisions. මේ නිකන් theory එකකින් කටපාඩම් කරන්න ඕනේ නිකන් බලන්නකො මේ දවස්වල මාකට් එක බලුවම ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කියන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද ප්‍රයිස් එක වැඩි වෙන්නේ සිමෙන්ති වැඩි වෙනවා වැඩි වෙනවා මොනවාද fuel වැඩි වෙනවා everything goes up, everything is in increasing price mainly because of the external things like other external factors like government policies, the political instability and exchange rate, and what sort of political fiscal decisions the governments are making. They are all part of that. And also nature of the demand for certain products during the COVID period. You can remember what happened to things like sanitizers and face masks. Initial period, face mask prices went up, skyrocketing, simply because there was a lack of supply in the market and huge departments demand suddenly emerged. But as the supply went up, the price came down. Nature of the market, whether it's a competitive market or a monopolistic market, like if you take gas market in Sri Lanka, the fuel market in Sri Lanka, they're all small players, few players, large scale, few players. So prices can be handled as they wish, though there are some legal restrictions. So these are some of the internal and external things you need to look at. When it comes to internal things, it's very important that you have your marketing objectives in mind. What is it that you want to achieve within your marketing? Is it the market share, customer awareness, preference, trial, or what is it that you want to achieve? If it's market share, obviously you need to have relatively low price, because what we believe there is that if you offer at a relatively low price, more and more people will try, then you will have a larger market share, and then you become relatively well established in the market. You can then increase the price. Initially you charge a relatively low price. Having said that, though, you might have some different examples also. When mobile phones were first introduced to the market, the price was very high. That is simply because it was a technologically advanced product. They had a unique competitive advantage which no one else then could match. So therefore, they had the advantage of charging a high price. But if it's a very competitive market, if you're coming to the market with the competition, in order to attract the consumers, you need to have relatively low price. then only people would keep trying. Why don't we give it a try and see if it works, if it's good, and have that market share, more and more people buying, and establish yourself in the market. You can then increase the price. These are all different internal things, and also marketing mix strategy. What is your product? මොන වගේ combination එකක්ද තියෙන්නේ, එකකට එක කොහොමද support කරන්නේ. So that integrated approach between marketing strategies is also something that the price setters should think about, and also cost and basically the cost. What we mean by cost here is can be the fixed cost, can be the variable cost. Then management accounting වගේ background එකේ ආයෙ මෙතන ඉන්නවනේ ඒගොල්ලන්ට මේ හොඳටම තේරෙනවා. Because මේ cost එක පැත්තට contribute කරන්නේ හුඟක් management accounting, accountants and cost accountants contribute for marketers to understand the cost structures. And also there are other organizational considerations, such as let's say for innovation, we don't bring our price down. PG Martins, they'll have to maintain their image for their furniture. Within the furniture category, they are like giants. They don't go behind quantity, they go behind the margin. Margin per se. They keep huge margins for their high quality products, and they don't want numbers like profit is not made through volume. Even upper scale image made. Even if you take brands like iPhones, Apple, they're prestigious brands. Taking the brand maintain. Company owners like policies. Some hardware shops. I heard one hardware, they normally store about 100,000 cement bags. It's an average level hardware store located outside Colombo, and for them, they have at any given time in their store, they have capacity to store 100,000 bags cement. And recently there was a price increment by 600 rupees. And by that time, when that price increment happened, they have had 75,000 bags in their stores. From the next day morning, they have started selling their products with the revised price, that is adding 600. And imagine the profit they have made. That's one. Another one would think that no, I purchased this at a relatively low price. Why would I go with the same old price? In an economic crisis, in a social crisis, in a social unrest like this, different organizations may have different policies in terms of how they sort of change their pricing. Some organizations would think that no, we don't do that. Some other organizations think the price එක අපි මිනිස්සුන්ට හැමතිස්සෙම අඩු price එකකට affordable product එකක් ගන්න තමයි අපේ main aim එක. දැන් අපි ගත්තොත් ඔය ලාභ කඩේ, CA කඩේ, even brands like Lady J, Manjari, I think they are relatively one thing, of course, they are targeting that group. But even if they target that group, even in terms of their pricing, they have certain policies. I'm assuming, I do not know. But therefore, they won't increase the price significantly. They do increase the price. ඒගොල්ලෝ දන්නවනේ ලංකාවේ තියෙන උද්දමනයේ 40ක් අතර තියෙන රටක price ගැන අපි මොනවද කතා කරන්නේ කියලා. මම දවසක් example එකක් දුන්නා. Example එක I wanted students to come up with a presentation of pricing strategies in different industries. They said, can we talk about prostitution industry and the pricing? I said, yes, of course you can. This was an undergraduate class. Next day, what they did was nothing about pricing, but little bit about the prostitution industry. And all what they have done is cross-dressing. Boys have dressed like girls and girls have dressed like boys, and they came on stage and did it like a stage play. There was no critical analysis or way of elaborating how the price happens in the prostitution industry. May not be your personal experience, but at least you may have read newspapers and public media, and you know that how consumers become emotionally vulnerable in these type of products. If you have read Professor Nandasen Ratnapala, Sri Lankan prostitution, and there are a lot of news articles during the war period in Sri Lanka, what happened to the salaries of armed soldiers who come across Anuradhapura, because there are a lot of prostitution places established in Anuradhapura, and these soldiers, before they come home, they stay a few days in Anuradhapura. දහක් විදන් කරන්න ගියපෙකන 5000ක් විදන් කරගෙන එනවා. අපිට ඒක අදාළ වෙන්නේ අපිට දැන් මෙතන ප්‍රයිසින් එක ගත්තාම අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් ඉන්නේ සමහර ප්‍රොඩක්ට්ස් වල තියෙනවා price is very psychologically connected. Price is psychologically attached. It's a psychological pricing. So these are some of the things we can discuss openly. එහෙම තමයි. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නවා නම් ඔය සමහර අය අහලා ඇති මෙල්බර්න් වල තියෙනවා රෙස්ටෝරන්ට් එකක් pay as you go. Lentils is the it's the name of the place. Restaurant Lentils. Look up online if you haven't heard this before. Lentils, and it's a very different pricing concept, very psychologically connected. What they do is they don't usually, if you go to a restaurant, what we first see is the menu card with the prices. Steam rice එක මේක නම් මෙච්චරයි මේක නම් මෙච්චරයි කියලා 500යි 400යි දැන් මේ ඕන රෙස්ටෝරන්ට් එකකට ගියපුවා මෙහෙමයි තියෙන්නේ. But if you go to this particular restaurant Lentils, you don't get a price card. They have a few options in their menu. You can sit and eat as much as you like, whatever you like within their set of offerings. You can eat anything, you can eat any amount, you can spend there as long as you want. It's a very relaxing and enjoyable place. Nobody make you feel rushed. You can go with a couple of friends and have a chat and eat and drink and eat and drink. But the price is to be determined by the custom. That is why it is said, pay as you go. What it means is, at the end of your meal, you can pay how much you think the food was worth. Pay as you go. If you are happy, if you're okay with what we have offered, give us whatever you feel it was worth. And also we know that this particular place, this is kind of a social enterprise. The money they earn, the profit, is spent on animal welfare in maybe Africa, maybe in different countries, for environmental projects. I think there's a Sri Lankan partnership also. Either it's owned by a Sri Lankan or there's a Sri Lankan partner involved. That make a very interesting point. Because they have a conventional විදියට හිතනකොට මේගොල්ලෝ අතෙන්ට යනවා. ගිහිල්ලා ඊට පස්සේ ඇත්තට මොකද්ද වෙන්නේ මේ මිනිස්සු වැඩිපුරත් එක්ක ගෙවනවා. දැන් මට හිතෙනවා නම් එහෙම එක මම ගන්නපු මේල් එක $20 worth කියලා I would pay maybe 25 or 30. That is because they trust us. They give us the chance to determine what the price is. Customer is made to feel that they have the autonomy, they have the liberty to pay whatever they think it was worth. How nice it can be. Can you imagine how nice this concept is? It was a very well running business. And there was this other technique called pay it forward, which was a concept introduced by Starbucks or one of these famous coffee shops around the world. in some outlets they have introduced this concept. But Starbucks, that is the coffee shop. But it was a coffee shop that this experiment was first tested. What they do is they get their customers to pay for the customer who comes next to them. If I want to buy a cup of coffee and go and stay in the queue, when you go to the cashier, they would say that your coffee has already been paid by the customer before you. You will have to pay for the customer who comes after you. Interesting. What happens then? There was a research on this concept, and it was clearly say that when you have to pay for somebody else because of your ego, maybe because out of your generosity, you tend to pay for more than what you would have paid for yourself. If I was to pay for my coffee, I would have bought maybe cappuccino or something for $3 or $4. But if I am to pay for somebody else who come after me, that's a different one. එතකොට අර මේ තව එකක් තියෙනවා ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහලා ඇති hanging coffee or something මට හරියට මේක තම මතක නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට පුළුවන් customers ලට ගෙවලා තියන්න පුළුවන් මේ ඔය coffee එකක් ගන්න සල්ලි නැති අයට hanging coffee වගේ තමයි මට මතක. එතකොට කියන්නේ I pay for my one and also I pay for somebody else who can't afford to buy a cup of coffee. එතකොට එහෙම බැරි කෙනෙක් ඇවිල්ලා අහනවා ඔයගොල්ලෝගේ hanging coffee තියෙනවද කියලා. ඒතර ගන්න. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ අර emotionally connect කරලා prices ලස්සනට හදනවා. අදපුවම මිනිස්සු හරි ආසාවෙන් ගෙවනවා. ලංකාවෙත් එක සැරයක් කරලා තිබ්බා මේ හොඳ හිත මේ කිරි during one New Year season they had run out of human resource. Like people have gone home for New Year. And the people have gone to Kataragama on their way back home have stopped because it's a well-known brand and people want to bring some curd home. So they have stopped. They could not serve. It was so crowded. So what the Mudalali, the owner has done is like, take as much as you want and put some money. If you buy, maybe he would have said, one container is this much, but take and put money. We don't have employees to help you today. You come and take and pay the amount you think is worth. What he has realized at the end of the day is that his day's income was much more higher than an average day because people have paid more. If the maybe 2 containers worth 400, they would have put 500 and gone. They wouldn't have waited for balance. ඔන්න කොහොමද වෙනවා? ඒ නිසා මේ pricing කියන එක අර technically ගන්නවා වගේම practically වෙන්නේ කොහොමද? ඒකේ තියෙන repercussions මොනවද? මිනිස්සු price එකත් එක්ක මේවා කරන්නේ කොහොමද? ඔය තමයි දැන් බලන්න සබන් price එකත් එක්ක මිනිස්සුගේ panic buying ආපු හැටි. ගිනි පෙට්ටි ගන්නකො හැටි. ගිනි පෙට්ටියක් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ගිනි පෙට්ටියක් මාසයක් පාවිච්චි කරනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. දැන් ගිනි පෙට්ටි මිල වැඩි වෙච්ච හින්දා ගිනි පෙට්ටි 100 200 ගන්නපුවයි. සබන් කට 200 300 ගන්නපුවයි. අර අඩු ආදායම් ලාභින්න කමක් නෑ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් afford කරන්න පුළුවන් අය පවා මේ price එකට කොච්චර sensitive වෙනවා. දැන් හරිම මේ interesting practically කතා කරන්නේ only thing is the time issue. දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්නා මෑත කාලේ කෑම වැඩි වුණා පොඩා. කෑම වැඩි වෙනකොට මේක seriously hit වුණා pick me drivers ලට ලංකාවේ. But the camera, yesterday I ordered, let's say, a kottu for 500 rupees. Suddenly it has gone up to 750. No way. I'm not going to buy kottu for 750. I would buy, I would cook at home or something like that. Maybe I'd buy something else. Me rush ekata minisu respond කරනවා. හරිම ඉක්මනට rush එකේ respond කරනවා. කලෝක ටිකක් settle වුණාම ලබන මාස දෙනකොට ආයෙ pick me දාලා ගෙන්න ගන්නවා. Pick me riders that ලොකු අඩුවක් තිබ්බා මේ කෑම වල පහුගිය දවස්. It is not because the people had suddenly they have realized that their purchasing power has gone down. That's one reason. But more than that, how they understand this price increment, the change of the price, how they react. So when you decide on the price, you need to be able to look at these practical, real ground scenarios as well. Anything you would like to add? Any questions? ප්‍රශ්න නැද්ද? අවින්ද වැඩ කරන්නේ කොහෙද? අවින්ද වැඩ?
Sir, Savaragama University, sir.
ඇත්තද? මොකද ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එක?
Business Management, sir.
අප ජයන්ත ඉන්නෙත් ඒකද?
Jayantha sir in accountancy case.
Right. මෙයා ඉන්නවනේ කවුද අපේ කවුද අර ලෙක්චර් කෙනෙක් ඉන්නේ මෙහි MSc කරේ ආරියරත්න නේද?
Chaturi.
චතුරි
මගේ department එකේ, sir.
චතුරිට කියලාද දුෂාන්තන මාකටිං ගැන්නේ කියලා?
මට කියලා තියෙනවා sir චතුරිට.
කියලා තියෙනවද?
ඔව් sir.
ඉතින් ආයි කියන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ මගේ යාළුවෝ ගොඩාක් ඉන්න සංජීවනි මිස් මාකටිං එකේ.
ඔව් sir. ඔව්.
හරි. එහෙනම් කොට කවින්දගේ ප්‍රශ්න අහලා වැඩක් නැහැ. වෙන කවුරුද කියන්නේ බලන්න අර අපේ කවුද? මේ ආරියරත්න ඉන්නවද?
මම තමයි sir ආරියරත්න.
ඔයාද ආරියරත්න? එහෙනම් මම අහන්නේ. right. දැන් මේ මට මේ කියන්න ඕනේ මෙතන මේ කැලේ අරගෙන පොඩ්ඩක් මේ demand කියන එක. Because these other slides I have already explained with the first one. Again, the demand management part. How the demand kind of influences our pricing strategy. Elasticity of the demand. How economics done නැති කට්ටියට තමයි මේක වැදගත් වෙන්නේ. මෙන්න මෙතන තමයි organizations වල marketers ලාට economics ඕන කියලා. You need to have at least the basics of economics to understand the price changes and how market respond to the price changes. Elasticity. මේක අපි දන්නේ නැති වුණාට රත්න මුදලාලිත් දන්නවා අරලිය මුදලාලිත් දන්නවා. Mr. Dudley Sirisena is very well aware of that. Even no matter how much politicians are struggling fighting with this, they know that the deal with the price is somewhat easy because the demand by nature is inelastic. අනම්‍යශීලී. ඒකට හේතුව තමයි ඒ අත්‍යවශ්‍ය මහන්න වෙනකොට මිල වෙනස් වෙන වේගයට සාපේක්ෂව ඉල්ලුම වෙනස් වෙන වේගය අඩුයි. ඒ කියන්නේ මිල වෙනස් වුණොත් 10%ක ඒ ගාන මිලේ වැඩි වුණාට ඉල්ලුම අඩු වෙන්නේ නැහැ වේගයෙන්. The quantity of demand won't come down at the same rate or higher rate. It is basically responding slowly. ඒ අනම්‍යතාවය තියෙනවා. දැන් අර කෑම කඩයි පික් මී රයිඩර්ස් ලා ගත්තාම ඒව නම්යයි. ප්‍රයිස් එක වැඩි වෙනකොට මිනිස්සු ඉක්මනටම රෙස්පොන්ඩ් කරලා they bring down the amount of products they order. Gradually they come to normal state. That's a different one. So these are some of the basic things. Therefore, you need to learn from economics and then see how things would have an impact on the price decision. මට කියන්න පුළුවන් basic idea එක මොකද අනිත් එකට cover කරන්න ඕනේ ඊළඟට price sensitivity එකක් වෙනවා මිනිස්සුන්ගේ. මිල සංවේදීතාවය. How sensitive people are to the price. Our price sensitivity can be very high in certain situations. For example, if the product is unique or prestigious, you're not that price sensitive. The more expensive it is, the higher the demand you can expect. Or සමහර වෙලාවට මෙහෙම හිතන්නක torch එක ගත්තාම battery එක price sensitive වෙලා වැඩන්නේ නැහැ. If you buy a torch, you'll have to buy the battery for it to work. So you might be price sensitive to the torch, but you can't be that price sensitive to the product. ඒක තමයි fuel market එකේ තියෙන්නේ. Fuel market, when you have the vehicle, you have to run it, and to run it, you have to have it. So we curse the government, we curse the parents and grandparents of politicians, but still, when the fuel comes, we go and wait in the queue. Because one, it's for some it's essential, But the other one is, if you have a vehicle, you have to. Likewise, there are certain things where you are very price sensitive. And in some cases, it's not. Price income comparison, if it's relatively small compared to your salary, you are less sensitive. So you don't care about a little increment. If you are earning maybe 200,000 or 300,000 salary, increase of the sabang price from 70 to 140 may not be that impacting on you. So you are less sensitive to that. Because soap prices, the change is you're somewhat less sensitive. But for a person who has relatively low income, that increment would be something significant for them. Likewise, you need to have these factors also clearly understood. General pricing approaches, these are not specific ways of setting the price. Cost-based pricing means our thinking is completely based on thinking. Accounting and financial accounting professionals, if they're dominating the system, always pricing in the organization has a very cost-based approach because the main determinant is the cost. Value-based pricing, on the other hand, focuses mainly on customers' perceived value. How much the customer is willing to pay for the product. Value-based pricing. Of course, they consider the cost at the end to make sure that the cost is covered and they can earn some relatively good profit. But their main determinant, key determinant of the pricing is the amount the customer is willing to pay. Competitor-based pricing means you set the price based on how much the competitors are charging. Now, let me ask you a question. Which one of these broad approaches, out of these three, which one do you think is more aligned with the real market thinking, real marketing? Is it the cost-based approach, a value-based one, or competitor-based one? Kavinda, you can answer now.
I think cost-based pricing and competitor-based pricing, they are more aligning with the present market situation because in Sri Lanka, most of the people are following these two approaches. Even I want to sell a product, I'm going to estimate the cost and I'm going to keep a markup and sell. I feel
in the present market condition, yes, true, because we are now experiencing not a normal market condition where the demand supply forces kind of balances the market. What we are now experiencing is what we call restricted market. If the market becomes normal, when the choice is made by the customer, what really works for marketers is the value-based
pricing. True, sir.
Then අපිට වෙලා තියෙන්නේ අපි මේ මොකද්ද මේකට අපි කියන්නේ කොහොමද වටපිටට හෙන ගැහුවත් කමන්නේ අපි MBA කරනවා වගේ වැඩක නේ දැන් ඉන්නේ මම කියන ඔයගොල්ලෝ MBA සම්බන්ධයෙන් නෙමෙයි අපි මේ এডুকেෂන් සිස්ටම් එක සම්බන්ධයෙන් මම කියන්නේ ඒක. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අපිට පොත් ලියලා රිසර්ච් කරලා knowledge එක ගෙනල්ලා දීලා තියෙනවා මේක ඉගෙන ගන්න මේක ටෙස්ට් කරපුවාම අපි දැන් MBA එක දෙනවා කියලා. ඒතර ඒ දීලා තියෙන conventional established knowledge එක develop වෙලා තියෙන්නේ normal established market conditions එක. දැන් අපි operate වෙන්නේ unusual restricted market conditions is what we are living in. And therefore, some of these conventional aspects might not be appropriate for us to understand what's going on or even to find out solutions. I don't know how far you agree with me, but I have a personal reservation. I have a reservation on what we are doing because we are not critical on what's happening around us. අපි අද ගිහිල්ලා බොන්චි 200ට ගන්නවා, ඊට ගිහිල්ලා 300ට ගන්නවා, අනිද්දාට 500ටත් ගන්නවා. අපි අතේ සල්ලි තියෙන ටිකක් අරගෙන අපි so-called educated people also, because even in the education they are not being made to think that it is the case, that cultural change has not happened. After the World War II in Japan, to rebuild the country, what they first did was they did a cultural change. ඔබල මෑත කාලේ Japanese literature කියවනම අහුවෙනවා ආච්චිලා තාම කුඩ එහෙම නැත්නම් ඔය හැන්දි ගෑරුප්පු පිඟාන් කෝප කැඩිච්චවත් විසි කරන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ ඒ තරම්ම රිසෙෂන් එකක ඉඳගෙන එළියට එනකොට නාස්තියවම කරා. නාස්තියවම කරලා කොස්ට් එක අඩු කරලා දැන් ටෝකියෝ වල ඉන්න ජැපනීස්ලා නෙමෙයි මීට අවුරුදු 50කට 60කට කලින් හිටියේ. මොකද ඒගොල්ලෝ අර ඒකෙන් යන්නේ රෙස්ට්‍රික්ටඩ් මාකට් එක ඔපරේට් වෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා. අපිට මං ඇතුළුව බහුතරයකට ඒක ඇවිල්ලා නැහැ තාම. ඒ නිසා මේ ඔය කවින්ද කිව්ව point එක, it's a very valid point. Yes, what we're experiencing now in Sri Lanka may be more cost-based pricing or competitor-based pricing rather than going for value-added pricing, which may not be practically possible to be implemented. Yes, very good. Very, very good observation. Any other thoughts? Anyone else? Or Kavindu? Kavinda, sorry. Is it Kavinda or Kavinda?
Kavinda, sir.
You have to underline A. Kavinda, what are you thinking? Anything you want to add?
Sir, I have a small doubt in my mind. So I'm quite thinking whether this value-based pricing is actually happening in Sri Lanka. Because for an example, if I go to market, I don't believe this product will give me this much of value. But without considering that, in order to satisfy need or want, anyhow I am going to purchase it. But the supplier has determined the price.
I mean, it's always them who do it. That's true. I mean, let's try not to say that it is not happening entirely in Sri Lanka. There can be certain cases who are doing it more effectively than the others.
Yes, true, sir.
දැන් අපි හිතමු කොන්නම හොඳම එක්සැම්පල් එකක් ගන්නම්කෝ කවිඳු. ඔයගලගේ කැම්පස් එකේ තියෙනවා අර ෆාම් ස්ටේ එකක්. තියෙනවා නේද කැම්පස් එකේ අර ෆාම් ස්ටේ එක අර
තියෙනවා.
ඔව් දැන් මම ඔන්න ෆාම් ස්ටේ එකේ මම ඇවිල්ලා ගිහින් තියෙනවා. එතකොට ෆාම් ස්ටේ එක තාම යන්නේ මොන ප්‍රයිස් එකකද? මට for others knowledge, if you have not been to this place, Abaragama University agriculture faculty is maintaining a farmhouse, like a farm stay. They have cottages on their own farm, and it's a beautiful stay if you want to relax a bit and go there. You know, there's a nice group of people also to help you. I've been there 2 or 3 times. Now it's running smoothly, nice, beautiful place. But the pricing approach they have adopted, to me, Kavinda, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is cost-based pricing.
Yes, sir, true.
එක කෑම එකට මෙච්චරයි, රෙදි හොදන්න මෙච්චරයි, අතු ගන්න මෙච්චරයි, ඇඳකට මෙච්චරයි, ඊට පස්සේ පොඩි ගාණක් ඇඩ් කරලා ඔන්න දානවා රූම් එක රුපියල් 3000. ඒ වගේ කන්නේ වෙන්නේ. එතකොට කවිද දැන් උතෙන්ට නවතින එන කට්ටිය ඇවිල්ලා අර මේ ධම්රජින බස් එකේ නූරෙලියට ගිහිල්ලා අර මොනවද සෙටප් එක දාගෙන වික්ටෝරියා මොන ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකද තියෙන්නේ නූරෙලියේ වික්ටෝරියා ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකනේ වික්ටෝරියා ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එකේ පොඩි අඩියක් ගහලා සින්දු දාලා එළියට නටනවා ධම්රජින බස් එකේ ගිහිල්ලා ඒ ටයිප් එකේ ක්‍රවුඩ් එකක් නෙමෙයි ඔයගලන් ටාගට් කරන්නේ රිලැක්සේෂන් එක හොයන ටිකක් afford කරන්න පුළුවන් privately arranged transport ගන්න පුළුවන් වගේ ක්‍රවුඩ් එකක් තමයි මම හිතන්නේ ඔතෙන්ට එන්නේ. ඒ වගේ අයගේ expectations වැඩි. සහ affordability එකත් වැඩි. ඒගොල්ලන්ට value එක හොඳට deliver කරලා හොඳ price එකක් ගන්න තියෙන opportunity එක තමයි නැති කරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. ඒ නිසා ඔයා කියන එක හරියි. In some places still either they are doing cost-based pricing or competitor-based pricing, but there can be value-added pricing as well. As I said before, maybe a place like Ministry of Crafts would be one. There can be some small-scale boutiques, shops, restaurants who are doing this very nicely. දැන් අපි ස්ට්‍රීට් යනකොට සමහර පැතිවල තියෙන උණු ආපයක් එක්ක හොඳ තේ එකක් තියලා ගානක් ගන්න කඩවල් දැකලා තියෙනවානේ. එතන තියෙන්නේ value based pricing because they deliver the value that is expected by the customer. So unfortunately, if you go to some places in Sri Lanka, even well-known brands like some of these even P&S shops, if you go there, you can't have a cup of tea. We have only Nescafe. They have so-called brands and all that. we only have Nescafe or we have only tea. මෙච්චර තේ හැදෙන රටේ හොඳට තේ කප් බොන්න තැනක්. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ තැනකදී ලස්සනට ගිහිල්ලා බොන්න ෆ්‍රෙෂ් ජූස් එකක් කනකොට ඒක මේ වෙනස් වෙන්න. ඒක තියෙනවා දැන් අපි දන්නවනේ දැන් ඔය මගේ යාළුවෙක් කිව්වා he went to a place in England, Scotland, beautiful area, and there is a very nice food outlet, and they're known for their fish and chips. Beautifully cooked, nicely arranged tables, very good service. And that is where they can charge a high price because they provide what exactly customers want. That is how we need to look at it, Arvind.
And also, if we consider the Ream Hotel in Ahangama, so they are charging a fixed price, but at that hotel we can eat as much as we want, as well as we can drink as much as we want. So therefore, that is also
which one did you do?
I did eat.
You did both.
No.
Right.
So it's like value-based pricing. So.
Yes, it is. It is. ඒ value base එකේ අපිට emotional part එක තියෙනවා. දැන් ඔය කිව්වාගේ අපිට කන්න පුළුවන් restrictions නැහැ ඔය වගේ එකක් තියෙනවා. මම ඔය හොඳ point එකක් ගෙනාවේ. අර මේ you know, after I think East attack, these Sri Lankan hotels which are never open to locals were open. Can you remember? They had offers. But when you went there, what happened is in their menus, they're half of what they usually offer to their regular customers, which was really annoying and frustrating. Even of those well-known hotels, they did the same. They say, you know, we have beautiful this thing at 50% if you have card at this bank. But when you go there, you don't get half of what they offer to other customers, which is ruining the image and ruining our moment. And value එක නැති වෙලා upset නැති මිනිස්සු බනබනේනවා. එන්න කැත වැඩක් කරේ කන්න දෙන්නේ ඩිසර්ට් කෝන් එකට ගියපුවාම මේ අර හැමදාම කාන එකයි දස් ලැබු කෑලි ටිකක් කපලා තියෙනවා. ඔය වගේ තිබ්බා. ලොකු හොටෙල් වල even star class hotels did that. එතකොට cost base ගිහිල්ලා value base කියලා promote කරනවා. Right. One examples මේවා තියෙනවා පස්සේ ඉතින් එහෙම බලා ගන්නවා. This is the difference between value and cost-based pricing. Cost-based pricing starts with the product, you estimate the cost and end with the customer, whereas value-based pricing starts with the customer and end with the product. Interesting. Competitor-based pricing, like you basically compare the prices among the competitors and set your price. For innovative products, we talk about two pricing strategies. Market penetration pricing and market skimming pricing. Just keep these two in mind. If you are offering a new product for the first time in the market, you can select between two of these approaches. Skimming pricing means sare udana. You skim. What it means is that you charge a high price initially, this one, and gradually you can bring the cost down or price down, simply because the product seems to have some uniqueness in its initial stage. Less competition, others are not offering something similar, so you are at an advantage point to charge a high price. But when as you go, others would come into the market, introduce the same benefits, so they will have to reduce the price to retain competitive in the market. But initially, you charge a high price. This can happen even with, even with market monopoly, like legitimized monopolies. If you have, my first make out the offer and then in the pharmaceutical industry, you find this very frequently because they have been doing research for ages, and when they come up with a medicine, they get the legitimized power to charge a high price, but gradually they like to bring the price down so the quantity can be increased. Or there can be certain products, initially they charge relatively a low price because their intention is not to skim but to penetrate. That in simple words means that you have to have more consumers buying your product. Market share has to be increased. But these are broad approaches. Following these approaches, what you can do is decide on the actual price finding. You have to have broad approach and then actual price. Sapatu nang anu namaya anu ay himanatang mehimay aramay coffee ekak nang $2.50 himanatang kasi how do we make the final figure? There are certain price adoption strategies also. How do you make the final one, and how do you make your make your price adopted according to the situation? Someone has asked a question: how do we do the value-based pricing? The cost-based pricing is easy. It's within the organizer. It's inside. Your accountants, cost accountants, management accountants can be requested to do a proper cost calculation and say that this is our fixed cost, this is our variable cost, and if you want to break even, you will have to have this amount. If you make this amount, you will make this much a profit. It's a very internal, convenient analysis done. Easy. Even competitor-based pricing, you can easily do. You can send some people around, do some, maybe window shopping, do some what we call ghost shopping, and identify competitive price. My department students business on campus. They call it coffee shop. They don't sell coffee, but it sounds like a coffee shop. They do photocopying and printing for students. Now that the market is so fragile, this photocopy, printing, paper market, they are still they are now struggling with the pricing. What I told them was that you can't make loss with this. Do some calculations. Then රුපියල් 600 ගෙනාපු A4 sheet එක මම හිතන්නේ 2000ක් විතර වෙනවා. ඒතර 12000ට ගෙනාපු ටෝන් එකක් දැන් 25000ක් විතර වෙලා ගත්තා. ඒතර අපි බැලුවා waste එකත් අයින් කළා, ඒව මේව කළා. මේ අපි කිව්වා right waste එකත් අඩු කරාම මෙහෙම කරාම at least 7 to 8 rupees per page යනවා printing වලට. Photocopying වලට. 7 I think. That's cost based approach they started. And then to be more effective, we said, why don't you go around campus and go up to maybe Vijayarama, talk to 10 people and see how much they charge. They come back and said they'll charge about 10 to 12 per page. I think double side. cost make range value based value based is different. You have to have cost element, you have to have competitive prices in mind, but look at the customer first. Look at the customer first. And see how much they are willing to pay. What are their expectations? They don't want to come and wait in the queue because our students are waiting. They don't want to wait. Maybe they can go stay in the library, or they can, before they come to the university for examination, they can do a lot of, they can email and have the printout ready. There are plenty app convenience time ඊට පස්සේ ඒගලන්ට හරියට මොනවාද readability එක වැදගත්. ඒගලන්ට ඒක clarity එක වැදගත්. ඒ නිසා අන්න ඒවා තමයි ඒගොල්ලෝ highlight කරනවා. මේව තමයි customer expect කරන්නේ. එතන මේගලන්ට pre order එකක් දාන්න පුළුවන්. හොඳ quality print එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්. පාඩම් කරන්නයි මේක ගන්න අපි දන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ delivery එක ready වුණාම පොඩි message එකක් යනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අපි අන්නේ service එක ඔක්කොම දීලා අපි ගන්නවා 12ට. එහෙම නැත්නම් ওই ටික ඔක්කොම දීලාත් අපිට 9ට දෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් ඒක ගැටලුවක් නෑ. But how much the customer is willing to pay for their expectations. Now you can get what customers expect and then ask them how much you're willing to pay for this. You don't have to ask each and everyone. You can do a general survey and talk to consumers and get to know about this. ඉතින් ඒ රේන්ජ් එකයි අර අපි මුලින් කතා කර සීලිං එකයි ප්‍රයිස් ෆ්ලෝ එකයි ඒක ඔක්කොම කන්සිඩර් කරලා අපි ප්‍රයිස් එකක් ඩිසයිඩ් කරනවා. It's more line with the customer.
So then, if you are going for valued pricing for a new product, so let's say we are considering these three pricing strategies: cost, value, and competitor. So we are planning to go ahead with value-based pricing, and we have set the price by conducting a survey and all. So can we go ahead with this innovative product pricing strategy then? So if we are going for it's a relatively high price. So can we call it a market skimming pricing strategy?
Yeah, because you can do a value pricing as a market skimming pricing. If it's a prestigious price, then it's done a blue stage 2 example. It's a very expensive brand, expensive one, which is far away from the actual cost. You're skimming the price, you're charging a high price, but customers expect that value. Even when mobile phones first came into the market, maybe the size was like a brick. But the technology innovativeness, it's a mobile phone, it's prestigious, it shows your affordability, it shows your social standing, it shows who you are. Therefore, these are the things customer would like to express with the product. Therefore, customer would be willing to pay more than what they are paying for some other product. That price is well aligned with the positioning strategy because it's that uniqueness customers want to maintain. If you take something like Jaguar එකක් නිකන් හැමෝටම Maruti එකක් වගේ ගන්න හදලා තියලා ගත්තොත් එහෙම ඒ මිනිස්සු ගන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද ඒගොල්ලන්ට ඕනේ ඒක ප්‍රෙස්ටිජ් එක. දැන් හිතන්නකෝ මිනි කූප් එකක් ගත්තාම මේ ඒකල charge කරන්නේ cost එකම නෙමෙයිනේ. ඒකේ social standing එක status තියෙනවා. ඒ status maintain කරන්නේ by producing a limited number. The limited number can maintain customer because maintaining the limited number is an expectation of customer. It's only me who has this, no one else. To make sure that no one else buys this, we pay for it. So skimming can be done if it's aligned with the expectations of the customer. Then it becomes a value-based pricing.
Yes. Okay, sir. So under cost and competitor, like you said, we can easily assign the price, calculate the price. But when it comes to value-based pricing, it is really hard. So assigning values to these, expectations and all, it takes, an abstract nature, I feel. So how can you justify?
It is very much so. It's very much abstract in nature. Because even if you talk to customers, you get qualitative inputs. Then
yes, that's right.
Then you have to have experts to convert this into numbers. Even with numbers, you then have to go back to your customers and try it out.
Get their what do you call opinion on
That's
whether
right.
they accept the price or not.
That's
so
right.
it can be successful and it can be a failure also, right?
It can be a failure also. That's why in the new product development stage, you have market testing few times before it comes to the commercialization.
Okay.
The commercialization, you might if it goes wrong, it will go wrong. But in the pre-testing stage, you can still try out few options, few prices, and see how it works.
Okay, sir. So market skimming, sir, does this happen after commercialization or initial stages?
Initial stage, because in the new product development stage, idea generation, idea screening, concept development, and market strategy development. The market strategy development, they think that this is how this should go forward. They have this rough idea. And these strategies then would put into a business analysis and see if it's profitable. And then you develop the product. If it's okay to go ahead with, then you develop the product, do the market testing. Because after other strategies, analysis until you put it in the real ground, you never know what will happen.
What will happen?
Because by that time, your competitors would have come up with something better than what you're going to do. Everything will go in vain and
topsy-turvy. Yes. So basically, then under commercialization, we sell the product at the final price, right, sir? According to market skimming pricing.
Because may I know your name, please?
I'm Aruni.
Aruni, yes. In the commercialization, we sell the product at the final price which we thought would work. But even when you do the commercial, even after you did the commercialization, the product can fail. Maybe due to the price, maybe due to some other reasons. You might be open enough, you might be vigilant to see these responses and to be open enough to see what exactly went wrong. It may not be the price.
Yeah.
It could be something else, or it could be the price.
Okay.
In the main market, it can still be a failure. So therefore, maybe you can do repositioning, you can do a lot of revamping and come up with something completely different. Things like that can happen.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yes,
So, under the market skimming pricing,
yes, Ramesh.
how much what is the lowest price would be? Is it the break-even point?
No. Market skimming or penetration, you're asking?
No, I'm asking, sir, when they started from the higher price, then gradually they reduce the price.
Yes. Up to what level they can go, you think? You're
Yes.
asking? All right, okay. It depends. It depends on the other market conditions. Now, when you start with a new product like skimming pricing, if you start with how much or to what extent you can go down, Ramesh, we decide based on several factors. So, for example, if you take iPhones or Apple brands, at the initial stage of their new models, they have a very high price. But even if they bring the price down, they are still at a higher price compared to other products, because depending on the target market and the expectations of the target market, you don't have to go far below. Because if you bring the price far down, what will happen is consumers would start mistrusting the brand, because Apple maintains that brand image. So they will not bring the price down to a level that tarnishes the image of the brand, because Apple has to be Apple. So even if they can bring the price further down without sacrificing the profit, they wouldn't do so, because that's not what customer expects. So even in bringing the price down, you can do customer expectation analysis and market research and see what level you can bring this down up to. You don't go that far.
Thank you, understood.
Yeah, your prestige could be one. The ලංකාව වගේ ගත්තහම ඔය ඔක්කොටම වැඩි වෙනස් නේ. රමේෂ් දැන් ලංකාවේ ඔක තියෙන්නේ regulatory frameworks තියෙනවා, දඩ ගහලා තියෙනවා, අරව තියෙනවා, මේවා තියෙනවා. එතකොට අපි ඒ ටිකත් ඇඩ් කරගත්තාම අපිට කොහොමත් යන්නද? එහෙම ප්‍රශ්න තියෙන පුළුවන්. සමහර රටවල තියෙන බලන්න raw materials වල ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා යන්න බලන්න. තවත් serious ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා. What stage are we now in terms of our product life cycle? Whether we are at maturity stage or declining stage. If the product is at a declining stage, and if you are letting product to die, maybe it's good to reduce the price and let it go, without just hanging around and dancing around it. If you can obviously see that this has no future, no potential, why don't you bring the cost further down and make everything sold? So there are so many other factors then you would have to consider.
Okay, so thank you.
Right.
Sir,
yes.
We have seen some product initially they fix low price, and with the time they increase price. What is that strategy?
Say it again.
We can see initially when product is introduced to the market, they set low price, but with the time they increase price.
What is your name?
Prasad.
Prasad, thank you. It's more like a penetration strategy, because at the penetration you start with lower price, because your intention is to get more and more people to try your product.
Right.
It can be an FMCG product. It can be some other popular product category for which you can't charge a high price. But once you establish yourself in the market, my goodness, you can then be the hero. Psychologically, then it's a matter of increasing the price.
Right. Okay, sir.
Samara MBS I don't want to name, but you can see how their brands gone up. The prices have gone up. Initially, they were at a very low price, but then they have gone up because they have established the brand, and therefore they can make the advantage of the market presence and the visibility they have established. Right. Thank you for asking those questions. Very, very beautiful. Fantastic. Anything else you want to know? So even after setting the price and deciding on the final price, we do something called price adapting. Adapt करना मतलब क्या है? समहा ताऊ पड़ी adjustments. Geographically adapt करना. Then I don't know if it still happens. Fuel prices have some differences within different regions depending on the transport cost. Gas prices, is it the same? Like gas prices in Colombo is different from gas prices in Matara? Or is it the same?
Same.
Okay, then it's not. It was the case. And discounts and allowances, again, we arrange and do the price. So discounts and allowances, hari aasa hai. නිකන් දැක්කම පොඩි thrill එකක් එනවා පොඩි kick එකක් එනවා අම්මෝ මාර වෙන්න එකක් තියෙනවා එහෙම එකක් නෑ ඔක ඇත්ත ගත්තහම they still keep profit but these are some psychological adjustments which are psychological in nature. Promotional pricing means you make the price itself a promotion, like the product is on sale and some retail outlets we see you find discounts from 10% to 90%. You don't find any item on 20, 90%, but these are appealing. These are promotional in nature. Price becomes a promotional strategy. Discriminatory pricing. Different customer groups are charged different prices, like customer segment pricing. You can then අපි ගත්තොත් එහෙනම් මම සීගිරිය ගැන කිව්වේ. ඒ වගේ තියෙනවා. foreigners at a price එක the visitors like locals at a price, customer segmenting pricing. Location pricing then cinema if you're watching a movie, the front is cheaper, back is expensive. The back of the back is more expensive due to some other reason, which some of you may have heard about, not experienced. And if you take a stage drama, the theater, the front rows are more expensive, back rows are cheaper. So these are location-based pricing. Likewise, time pricing, then time pricing telephone peak hours and off-peak hours. Likewise, you again make some adjustments to the price. Hotel industry have different prices due to the fluctuating demand seasonally. So these are some of the practical aspects of setting your price. Right. So that's broadly about pricing strategy. So price communicates the value of the product in monetary terms. And price as some psychological way of dealing with customers. Price is the only element that brings revenue back to the organization. So therefore, it has to be managed so delicately. Because in the end, you have to have something remaining in the organization. You will not have anything retained if price element is not properly managed. So you take professional experts and then අපි තන government එකම කියලා government එක ඒ pricing concepts වලින් ගන්න හරියට ගියා නම් එහෙම අපේ tax reforms වලදී මීට වැඩි අපිට වෙනස් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. We ended up having nothing at home because of the wrong decisions we have made. So that's pretty much about pricing strategy. Any questions you'd like to ask? Kavinda is asking question. Kavinda, your question is very clear. Kavinda, your question is very clear. Can you explain what is the starting point of this marketing process? Is this the research or identifying opportunities? Identifying opportunities is the initial point of the marketing process, and the mechanism of identifying opportunities is the research. Kavinda, is that clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. And it doesn't mean that we do research only at the initial stage only though. We do research in each and every step of the marketing process, including the initial stage, because you can't identify opportunities if you don't have research mind, research kind of sense. Pricing කියා දෙන්න ගිහිල්ලා ඔයගලන්ට මේ වටයක්ම ගැහුවා. Any questions? Any doubts?
Thank you so much, sir, because you gave the holistic picture. So
Yeah.
we got a good idea about the entire marketing.
Yeah, it's the entire picture that really matters, Kavinda, because for any subject, I think having this holistic view, the bigger picture is what makes it easy for us to understand issues and also to find solutions. Where does this? Because these things won't happen in practice. If you work in organizations, you know that these things won't happen in isolation. Price when make when these things happen together. Only for the study purpose, we have the segregated approach. But in reality, these things happen together. So therefore, it's very important that we have the holistic view. Myopic, narrow-minded. Either we have only promotional view or pricing view or maybe a distribution view. Right. I will now start the discussion on placement strategy, and for the discussion next week, please go through this scenario. Very interesting one. Zara. Some of you may have heard this. Zara is one of the popular apparel brands. එක ගැන කියවන්න. අනේ මම දන්නේ මම ඔයගොල්ලෝ මෙහෙම කියන එක හොඳයිද කියලා. නමුත් මට නම් හිතෙන්නේ මේ මාකටිං ඉගෙන ගන්න චුට්ටක් පොත්ලගේ පොත කියවන පොත් කියවන්න වෙන පොත්. Have the overall frame in mind, then read other sources. දැන් මම අද උගන්වනකොට මට මේ thinking වලට ගොඩාක් මේව කරපු එකක් තමයි මම ළඟදී කියුවා just to improve my English competency. I read books online, very simple ones. On YouTube I watched this, and I happened to read a beautiful book about Shannon, somebody, a lady who was born in France even before the World War I. And her life story was what I was reading, and it answered the question Kavinda just asked. මේ process එක පටන් ගන්නකොට research වලින්ද පටන් ගන්නෙ නැද්ද කියලා. මට ඒක මතක වෙලා මම කාවින්දට උත්තරේ දුන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ පොතේ කතා කරනවා ඔය Channel 5 කියලා world famous there is a perfume brand. It has become the globe #1 brand, I think. And this lady, Shannon or somebody, is considered to be the first fashion designer in the world. Then it went to Japan and some other parts of Europe. That's how the fashion industry developed. Then අපි හිතනවා warfare එකක fashion industry එක develop වෙන්න බෑ කියලා. දැන් මේ පොත කියන අපිට තේරෙනවා warfare එකේ තමයි world war එකේදී තමයි fashion industry එක evolve වෙන්නේ පැරිස් වල, France වල. එතකොට ඔය අපි කතා කරන marketing එතන අපිම ලස්සන elaborate කරනවා. ඊට පස්සේ target marketing and positioning ගැන මම හොඳට ඉගෙන ගත්තේ ඊයේ මම කියුවා එක පොතක් Montessori ගැන. The lady Montessori, some of you may have heard this. Montessori is not an English word. It's a name of the person who has developed this educational approach for differently skilled or differently able students. Because of the uniqueness and the significant contribution she has made to the world, Her education method is called Montessori. That's how this Montessori schooling began. And it was from her that I understood how customized product can be developed. අර ඒකේ කියනවා she's a doctor by profession, and when she developed, before she developed this method, in schools, these differently able students were cornered and they were marginalized, and everybody used to call them crazy little bastards, or maybe lot of bad words they used to sort of call these little children who are differently able, which we found, which she has capitalized on. ඒ වගේ අයට ගන්න මෙතඩ් එකක් තමයි මොන්ටිසෝරි මෙතඩ් එක. ඉතින් අර එතකොට එතන නිකන් අපිට ඉගෙන ගන්න හොඳම තේරෙනවා මේක තමයි රියල් මාකටිං. මෙතන තමයි need identification. මෙතන තමයි real opportunity identification. The one, someone who is interested in maybe identifying a business there is making a business. He is making profits. I may have told you this story. One of our students developed pet care business. Boo something. Yeah, correct. Pet funeral business. He started a pet funeral business because he realized he grew up in a flat in Colombo City where they have no floor to touch. It's all high-rise buildings. All his life he spent there, and he must have realized that these people are suffering when their pet animals die. They want them to have a proper sending off. They want to show their love and care and respect for the dog, but they had no way of doing that. Why don't you make it a business? There was a Harvard business graduate. Then එතනදී කාවින්ද වෙන්නේ අර ළමයාගේ life experience එක සහ යාගේ education එක තුළ his life experience and his education and reflective thinking has made him a researcher himself. So that then, of course, with his marketing degree and talking to us, converted into a very profitable business. There was this girl who studied, I think, at Cambridge University. While she was at Cambridge, she wanted to leave her. No, she was having a dog, and this dog, while she was eating food, she offered her dog also some food. And while she was eating, she was observing the eating of the dog, and she has come to some sort of realization that I eat some food which is relatively wet. Even if I eat a sandwich, it has maybe a salad or salad leaf with some mayonnaise or something like that, and maybe veggies which are wet. It's easy to maybe eat. It's easy to process. But what we offer to pets are very dry. Had we developed something even for dogs which is wet, they would have enjoyed their food intake more. So she started with this thing, she did her own research, and then she got maybe others. Likewise, she started doing this. And it has become one of the world famous pet food brands. I can't remember the brand. I remember the story because the things like pedigree and all that were popular brands. But this brand became popular not because of the brand, but because the unique nature of the product. Hold on 1 minute, please. Right. So this is how things evolve. Right. Any thoughts? Anything you'd like to ask? Right. So next we are going to be talking about the place strategy, which is not that difficult to understand again, because place strategy, the word start play, the word start with letter P just to make it 4 P's. Place strategy basically deals with distribution, or how we make our product available to consumers. That's what this strategy is all about. Physically making the product available. And it's physically, it can be even through virtual sources. So this is the overall idea again. You have your target market intended positioning, and you develop your product, price, and placement and logistic, that is distribution strategy, and promotion, that is your communication strategy. And also you have other strategies also, people, process, and physical evidence. Here we are talking about placement. Placement strategy simply meaning getting the right product to the right place at the right time in the right quantity. Placement means your strategy to get the right product at the right place at the right time and right quantity. Then make a Lankawe fuel supply එකත් එක්ක බලන්න. අපිට ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා right product එක දෙන්නේ කට්ටිය කියනවා then deep petrol හොඳ නැහැ. Is it coming to the right place? Is it coming in the right time? Or is it coming in the right quantity? 5000යි දෙන්නේ කියනවා. ඒතර බලන්න දැන් අපේ fuel as a product, if you take the entire issue from the customer point of view lies with the placement strategy. Maybe from the organizational point, issue lies with the pricing as well and macro other things. But simply from customer point of view, issue is this. And we also use some similar terms to mean the same thing: placement, physical distribution, logistics, marketing logistics. මේ තමයි අනිත් පාවිච්චි කරන වචන. Ramesh is asking question about pricing strategy again. Good question, Ramesh. Value-based pricing, can we use it in the service sector, service point of view as well? Of course, yes. Yes, salon-based pricing can be, I think, better applied in service industry, because services are very complex in nature. Customers have a lot of doubts, expectations before they consume the service. So therefore, if you deeply understand the value expectations of the customer, price can be aligned accordingly. Very good. Price-based, value-based on a product. On a podi makeup matratiyagana. This is idea is small but important. Usually people confuse placement strategy with this. This is not placement, image, what I'm referring to here. This is positioning, because what you are doing with the customer mind is positioning. What you are doing physically to reach the customer is placement or distribution. So what we are talking about is this, not this one. So in distribution strategy, what we are thinking about is marketing channels or distribution channels. Distribution channels means different parties, organizations involved in making the product delivered from marketer organization to the end customer. Any independent, independent and also interdependent. Sometimes they can be independent, but what we're not mostly talking about is interdependent organization, because they're depending on each other. Interdependent organizations. So in marketing channels, we use intermediaries. අතරමැදියෝ. මේවා ඉතින් දන්නවනේ දැන් ආයි ලංකාවේ හාල් බිස්නස් එක ගත්තාම, ලෝඩ් බිස්නස් එක ගත්තාම, වාහන බිස්නස් එක ගත්තාම, රියල් ස්ටේට් මාකට් එක ගත්තාම අතරමැදියක් කෙනෙක් නා 아무තෙන් ඔයගොල්ලන්ට කියන්න ඕනේ නෑනේ. අපේ ලංකාවේ සාමාන්‍යයෙන් මේවා රෙගියුලේට් කරලත් නෑ. රෙගියුලේට් කරලා නැති නිසා කොරෝනා හැදිලා මැරුණාම මිනිහ වලදාන එකටත් අතරමැදියෝ හැදුණා අපේ. ඊට පස්සේ පෙට්ටියට හාමුදුරුවෝ වඩම්මනවට හරි ෆාදර් කෙනෙක් ගෙන්නනවට හරි මොන සෙමෙට්‍රි එක කොහොමද කරන්න කියන එකට අතරමැදිය පයින්. ඒතර හොස්පිටල් එකයි අරගලේ සම්බන්ධ වෙලා පොඩි රිපෝෆ් එකක් එතනක් යනවා. එහෙමත් වුණා. ඊට නෝරෙලින් එළවලු ගේනකොට දඹුල්ලට යනකොට කොහොමද මේක වෙන්නේ කියලා අපි දන්නවා. ඒ නිසා අපිට අර පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ 225 එපා කියනවා වගේ මේ ඉන්ටර්මීඩියට්ස්ලා ගැන පොඩි මිස්ට්‍රස්ට් එකක්, ඩිස්ට්‍රස්ට් එකක් තියෙනවා. We don't believe them. We don't tend to realize that there is a significant role they play because of what they do. We have developed kind of a mistrust over the years around the intermediaries or parties in between producer and the user. Is this really true? Can we do our business without intermediaries? What do you think? Some final thoughts if you would like to share?
Can, sir, no? Can. Yeah, if I give an example again from Dilma Tea, Mr. Mereje Fernando, they do have the selling centers. I mean in selling centers as Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Poland. But they do without any middleman involvement. They directly distribute their own companies in the abroad. Then after the delivering and also doing the same company under the MJF.
Is this Ramesh? Yes. And Ramesh, now the thing is, of course, yes, they do, and they can. But the problem is, can this strategy be possible for everyone, like small scale players? Do you think a farmer who is farming paddy in Anuradhapura or Pulanaruwa, can they come and sell their product to consumers in Homagam?
In this case, in that case, it is difficult, sir.
That's right. Ekin අපි yes the no the කියන නැතෝක දෙපැත්තටම දාලා තියමු. එතකොට පොඩි මේකක් එනවා. මොකද දන්නවද මේ there are certain products, certain producers who do not seem to have resources and competencies to engage in intermediaries role as well, either because they are resourceless or maybe they don't have competencies. Now, if you take some pharmaceutical products, producers can't because they need maybe high-powered refrigeration, which distributing companies may own. So therefore, rather than maintaining your own refrigerations and this unique storage all over the place, you can let them handle, and maybe you can buy some of their space who would do the job. But as you correctly pointed out, we are not thinking about having, or we are thinking about removing intermediaries because they are unfairly earning from these transactions. Therefore, this extra cost is added to customers. So keeping this overall idea in mind, just go through this SARA case study, and like the Blink H2O, we will have an initial discussion with this, and then we can easily finish distribution early in the first maybe 15 to 20 minutes of the next session. Then I'll very briefly talk about marketing communication as well, and I will spend little more time on ethics and social responsibility in marketing. Ethics and social responsibility. Right. Okay, we will finish the session today. Thank you everyone for listening and for being interactive. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you, sir.